Today, I'm standing here with immense pride and joy, quite like last time. 3 years ago, I stood at the same place, the only difference being that now I've grown up and I have been promoted to this podium, and my writing style has improved, I think. My first book, The Unknown Friend, talks about a girl named Mia and her battle with the various problems she faced at boarding school, which none of us have experienced. But the reverse quarantine talks about something that each and every one of us has gone through: COVID. Okay, fun fact: most of you may think that the word quarantine is quite new to English, but actually it isn't. It originated from the Italian word quarantina, which means 40 days, and the word was created during the mid 17th century. Quarantine was actually a method used to avoid the spread of the Black Death, and visitors were made to isolate themselves for 40 days and were released after that. Reverse quarantine, on the other hand, is for like the high risk categories like the elderly and children, which is why I finalized on the title because the characters are a grandfather granddaughter duo. The sudden change in our activities like going to school and traveling and planning for the summer holidays, etc., was quite overwhelming in that short period of time. This is expressed in my book as the protagonist is planning for where to go during her vacation and how should she finish studying all this chapter for the exams, and in a few moments she's purely isolated and it's a mayhem. And all the time she's trying to wrap her head around what in the world just happened. The book also talks about issues such as lockdowns, curfews, online classes, and it was very terrible to say that it's an understatement to say that COVID was some kind of, it's a drastic change, to be honest. The memories and issues related to COVID is like a looming figure, which is a finishing line and a checkpoint at the same time. So it reminds us of what we've overcome and what we still have to improve on. All of these problems, such as coping with isolation by doing experiments and making YouTube channels, and also doing random stuff and depending heavily on the internet for every single minute of the day, with a tad bit of fiction, makes this book relatable here and there. Okay, here's a question for each and every one of you. How many of you prefer to be around with your grandparents than your parents for a long period of time? Okay, I can see a few hands rising up. Actually, this is because of the fact that as we age, we tend to be more like children. So life isn't practically a straight line. It's more like a never-ending cycle. For example, in my home, my grandparents and I wreak havoc all the time over silly stuff like chocolates and magazines and who finishes reading the first page of the newspaper first or who feeds the fish first, and mostly it's silly reasons like that. As Shahina ma'am said, it's not rare to hear issues of people doing irreversible damages to others, even at schools. For example, we have heard cases of brutal ragging, bullying, discrimination, and other heinous acts, which urges us to question our society and our ethics. The only thing that I have to say to each and every one of you is never let go of your ethics, your empathy, your kindness, because you never know what someone is going through. You never know what they might feel. In my book, Shivani is a very unique character. She's like a bit of myself and a bit of all the other people that I have come across. So her story makes us realize that being unique or slightly different is not some kind of drawback or obstacle that you have to overcome. It's more like a power up or a strength that makes you you. COVID has tested us to various extremes, but it has taught us some very valuable lessons like maintaining relationships. The only place I wanted to visit during COVID was Silver Hills, and it was mostly to stop missing my school so much. The three people who were always there were Augustine Father, Biju Father, and John Father, and each of them helped create unique memories. John Father let me borrow books from his library, which was the only way to get books during that time, and I think I'm very lucky to have a principal who likes books so much now as a writer. Thank you, Father. And Biju Father always mentored me. He told me that I have the spark to write. Inside a mischievous little kid who looked at the butterflies, who looked at the trees, the flowers, he somehow saw a budding writer and kept telling me that I am a storyteller, that I am a passionate storyteller. And I didn't realize it until I started writing, until I started getting the hang of it. Augustine Father and I had a lot of unique memories, and if I started listing each and every one of them, I'm sure that they won't finish. So thank you, fathers, for all of that. How many of you learned your new favorite skill or just improved on something like learning a new language or like doing some kind of activity like maintaining a YouTube channel? Yeah, I think it's a lot of people. Can any of you raise your hands if you did something like that? Okay, I can see a lot of hands rising at the back. Well, most adults say that COVID gave us time to introspect on ourselves, to improve ourselves, to understand and filter out the bad stuff in us and all. But as a child, COVID gave me time to find new skills, to branch out more. So if you still don't know what your interest is or what you want to explore more on, I urge you to give everything a try. For example, some things may not work out. I don't like doing stuff that's boring and mundane. I hate doing stuff like dancing. I don't like dancing. I would rather die. And I also hate doing other stuff like, I don't know, very random stuff. I don't like cooking that much sometimes. It just depends on the mood. And I know that most of you may not feel comfortable breaking that bubble, but I think that you must give it a try if you want to improve on yourself. Oh, and another thing that I noticed while writing is that there are stories everywhere. So if you keep your eyes and your ears sharp, you can surely see some stories. You can listen to the stories, if you know what I mean. And most of the stories in this book, as well as The Unknown Friend, is loosely based on what I've come across, what I've observed, and what I went through. So if you would like writing stories, give it a try. In this auspicious moment, I have a lot, and I mean a lot, of people to thank. First and foremost, huge thanks to Shahina ma'am for coming here even during her busy schedule as a prominent writer who has just come here to release a book written by a small writer like me. Ma'am, this is truly an inspiration. Also, thanks to Sumesh uncle and Nasima auntie for helping me throughout the publishing process. John Father for always helping me and always motivating me to write. Biju Father for mentoring me. Augustine Father for creating these unforgettable memories. Thanks to Anu Miss, Jeeta Miss, Shaisi Miss, and Nilima Miss for being my class teachers during my evolution as a writer. Thanks to Ranjini Miss for guiding me as a teacher and as a guide captain during these 8 wonderful years. Thanks to all other teachers and non-teaching staffs. And also, thanks to others who came here, including Arunlal Mogeri, my Arun Maman, for critiquing me, for helping me improve my writing, and for letting me engage with books more whenever I met him. Thanks to Ablash Uncle and other PTA members who came here, even though it's a working day. And thanks to my parents for being the wonderful people they are. Amma, thanks so much for reading 2 stories to me every day before I went to bed, because now it's just impossible to go through a day without reading. Acha, thanks so much for always being my encyclopedia when it came to stuff like reading and overall what is happening in front of me, and thanks for prompting me to question even more. And thanks to both of you for letting me buy as many books as I wanted. Now, to all of the family friends and family who came here, even though it's a working day, thank you so much. Without all of your support, I would not be here. And for all of those who deeply motivated me, but weren't able to come due to other issues, I think that your motivation and your wise words outweigh your absence. So thanks so much for that. And now, thank you to each and every one of you, dear friends. Thanks so much for telling me how much some of you like my writing, telling me how much some of you want to write, want to read more, and for also sharing your experiences and your observations, which helped me grow as a writer. Now, I have had many cases where some students just come up to me and say, "Oh, how did you write a book? Oh, I want to write a book too. What should I do?" Well, the thing is, I am not the most educated person to ask. If you want to start writing books, though, I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone and start writing any single thing that you come across. And I think that will help you grow as a writer. All I have to say is that Rome was not built in a day. Start small, dream big, and I assure you that you will become a trailblazer. If I can do it, you can do it too. Thank you.